Yo, internet, you're tuned into the Combat Jack Show, the CombatJackShow.com. Actually, no, it's not the CombatJackShow.com. It's CombatJackShow.com. We got a brand new website thanks to Squarespace. Yo, Mena did a great job. We don't have any monsters in the room. I need to crack a bottle of a can of Monster. You know, our friends of Monster sent us, and I'm feeling a little peaked. I need the diet Monster. You know what I'm saying? My throat is hard. Would you like a Monster?
I would love a Monster.
Can we get 2 cans of Monster, please? Listen, internets, listen.
It's been a long
Y'all
day.
don't understand how excited I am.
Me too, man.
Well, don't blush. Don't
Okay,
blush.
stop.
But I finally got to meet my longtime radio crush.
Oh, gosh.
Is in the building right now. Internets, let's welcome to the Combat Jack Show, Miss Angie Martinez. Angie! Now,
I'm so happy to be here, man.
Are you really?
I am, because we've been talking about doing this for a while, and then I didn't really want to be like, can we please just wait till book? Because I knew we were going to have like an extensive conversation, and I didn't want to like do it and the book comes out a month later, and then you're like,
but you could always come back. You could
Yeah,
always come
but
back again and
it's not
again.
the same. The first one, you know what I'm
First
saying?
one, what?
You know, we should have some content.
Yo,
to
you
talk
look
about.
good, Angie.
Thank you, man.
And congratulations on the book, My Voice.
Thank you.
I got a copy. I read
I
it.
know. I'm so happy.
It kept me very engaged.
It's an easy read, right?
It's a very easy read.
Yeah.
It's very also inspirational in terms of
Thank you.
how you fell into what you do, and you know, just we'll let you tell the story. You know what I'm saying? So wait. Before
Okay.
you talk about it, so the book comes out today, right?
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
May 17th.
May
Everybody.
17th. How's it feel?
And you have to go get it. It's like a movie. You have to go first weekend out to go see the movie. It's like the book. I don't know. I'm trying to learn how this book world works.
Is there pressure in like first week sales?
I think so, kind of. I mean, for me, I'm like, I'm long term with it because I am excited about the actual what's in the book. But yeah, I think in the book world, like first week I don't know. I could be talking on my ass. I think the first week has a lot to do with like lists and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
how did this book deal come about?
it's so funny because I did a cookbook like a little over a year ago, and a little more than that actually. So I was shipping it. I mean, I was shopping it a couple of years ago, and I was going to all these like book companies, and nobody wanted it. They were like, "You're from the radio. What? You don't even cook. Like, what do you talk about? Nobody wants the cookbook from you." But I really felt passionate about it. I'm like, nah, but I want this book. Like, not only did I cook, but I was somebody who grew up eating Latin food, and I'm always dieting because I'm always up and down. And I want these recipes. Like, I want this book for me, and it doesn't exist. It needs to be in the world. It was like a passion project. So when I went out to shop that, everybody told me no. I wound up having to do it with some company overseas and partner with a chef who had a deal already. But in that round, one of the people I met was like, listen, I can't convince my sales team about this cookbook, but we are like we want to be in the Angie Martinez business, and we think you have an amazing story to tell, and if at any point you're ready to tell it. And I wasn't at that time, so I just was like, yeah, okay, whatever, fine. You'll see. I'm going to do the book without you. But I connected with him, and and we stayed in touch, and then it was time. And actually, Jennifer Lopez had just put her book out.
Okay.
He published that also, right, at Celebra. And so we were doing a book launch event for Jennifer, and I saw him there. He was like, "You ready?" And I had just left Hot. I was like, "I think I'm ready. I think it feels like time." And so we did a deal, and they're great. It's like a perfect house for me. You know what I'm saying?
How intimidating is it though to write a book about your life story? If you're not accustomed to writing.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was more of a writer than I ever thought.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that wasn't the hard part for me. I mean, I definitely had some help. Like the publishing house was amazing, and was like, you know, the one note I kept getting from them is like, stop talking to people like they know what you're talking about. Like they know who all these people are.
Right.
So it forced me to go in, and instead of just saying, yeah, I was there with Busta and this and what, I had to be like, or Redman. I was telling a story about Redman. They were like, some people that might read this book might not know who Redman is.
It's a brand new audience.
And so they forced me. Then I'd go back in and I'd rewrite it, and I'd be like, okay, Redman had Muddy Waters out at this time, and it had just been certified, and he was popping in his own right, and he happened to be in the studio with KRS when I showed up. You know, I had to like then develop it a little bit more.
You have to explain to the outsiders.
Yeah, because I want more people to buy the book,
You
right?
want the book to be bought.
So I think that I don't know, just made me a better writer, and
descriptive.
Yeah, descriptive, and putting myself in, just, I don't know. It was an amazing experience. I went in, I was like, I'm just gonna write everything, and then I'll just assess it after. I don't want to worry about what anybody thinks. I don't want to worry about what my family thinks, my mother, my man, my kid, my coworkers.
Which is a good place to be, because I find when you're in a creative zone,
You have to block all
you're
that
worrying
out.
about what somebody else is gonna
It's compromised.
think. You compromise, and you can't do that with your art.
No, I didn't want to do that. And so I was like, I'm gonna write this completely uncompromised, and then
Unfiltered.
And I gave myself the out. I was like, you know what? Just write it uncompromised, and then if you're not comfortable,
Edit.
you can edit.
It's all
right? I'll just go back and edit. But the truth was, once I got it all out, I was just like, this is my truth, and I'm okay with it. So
it's a good truth. I mean, I didn't see anything in it that was crazy.
No, I mean, there's some parts from what I understand from hearing some feedback that a couple of people might feel a certain type of way, but it's not ever an ill intent.
Right.
My intent is not ever ill in that way. It's just about telling my story, and there are other people that play parts in that story.
And you were honest with some people, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. So, I don't put it past you.
So what I find amazing about your book is that, growing up in New York City, you were like a regular city kid. You were into the music, but you really didn't know what direction you wanted your life to go in until you had some issues with school.
Yeah, until my mother was like, you're not going to be, a high school dropout.
Right.
And
is that where you were headed? Like,
I don't know where I was headed. I think I was just curious, and school wasn't doing it for me. And I just was like, I was just a curious kid. So if school wasn't doing it for me, then I was gonna go out and see what they was talking about on the handball court.
Right.
If that wasn't popping, whatever. I think so. I don't know. I just wasn't focused on school, and I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And my mother just wasn't having it. She was like,
Let me ask you though something.
Yeah.
Back then, like even then, like cutting class and having like hooky parties, you weren't like scared of the repercussions or anything?
I don't know if I was like young and dumb.
Right.
Or I didn't. I just was like curious. Like I loved just being in the environment of the music and hip hop. And so if there was a hooky party and they were playing hip hop, I wanted to be there. I was young. I mean, when you're 16, 17, you're like,
whatever, right?
You ain't thinking about consequences and shit. You just living your life. You just doing what you want to do.
So when the hammer came down,
and
your mom shipped you to Florida, like was that the worst thing in your mind that could have happened to you?
It was terrible. It was I thought my life was over. And then I got there and it was like I didn't understand the music.
What was the music?
It was like Miami bass.
Right.
It was like
Uncle
Luke, and they had these like Jam Pony Express tapes, and no disrespect to it. I understand and I have a respect for it, but it's like at that point, I wanted to hear.
You were from New York.
I wanted to exactly.
You from motherfucking New York.
What I was interested in is in Big Daddy Kane.
Where's Rakim?
Exactly.
Yo, EPMD.
So
son.
I'm in this new city and nobody really dresses like me. Nobody really likes what I like. Right. They ain't up on the stuff that I'm into.
So you were homesick.
I was absolutely homesick,
wow.
And so it didn't take me long to find other kids like me. Found like 3 or 4 friends that also had been shipped there
like
from New York.
Like a kindred spirit, right.
And then I was like with 4 New Yorkers in Miami, cutting school, doing the same shit I did in New York.
But what happens there is you end up landing an internship at a radio station.
Mm-hmm, at Power 96
Power
Miami.
96. Mm-hmm. What was the format and what did you do? It
was a dance station.
Okay. More dance, right?
Yeah, my mother was the music director. That's what brought her to Miami.
Right.
That was the job she got.
So you had radio in your blood in a sense.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
She and so I think she just was trying to help me find something to do and make sure I didn't get out of, keep me out of trouble. So she had got me an internship, and I thought it was dope. Like I didn't really, the music wasn't really my thing, but I liked the energy. I liked, going to events with the DJs, and I don't know, just, I liked the energy of being in the radio station. Right. And then like when I was 18, so 2 years later, I moved back to New York, and I still was like, okay, well I had this internship now. Let me try to get one in New York.
Right.
And so I went to Hot 97, which at that time was a dance station too. So I was there like at the beginning before they were even a hip hop station.
Did you have aspirations of getting on a mic at the time?
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
I thought maybe I would want to be a program director.
Okay.
Because
why?
Because there was starting to be conversation about a hip hop station.
Right.
And maybe we could play hip hop more, and there's only a matter of time before a full-time hip hop station comes. And that was exciting to me.
The conversation.
The thought of that, like, wow, that could be ill.
Because up until that point,
there was none.
There was none.
No.
Okay.
It was none. Isn't that crazy
That's
to even
crazy.
think about that?
That's crazy.
And so, I mean, it was weekends.
Right.
You had to
Of
wait
course.
for the weekend, or you
Red
had to
Alert,
listen
Mr.
to
Magic.
Thursday nights
Yep.
to Stretch and Bobito.
Yep.
You had to make an appointment to get your hip hop.
Right.
It wasn't like I just put it on and there's whoever. You know what I mean? There wasn't like that. So, I happened to be at the right place at the right time. And so being a PD, my mother was like, okay, well, if you have interest in being a PD, you need to learn every element of radio.
Right.
So I did.
So she was grooming you in a sense to become a program director.
Kinda. I mean, she just gave me that advice.
Right.
She was like, well, if you really want to be a PD, you should learn the sales department, the street team, this, And so I did. I worked in every single department. I interned in all these departments because I thought maybe one day I'll be a PD. Who knows? And in that process is when I kind of found my way to programming and to on air and running the boards and then standing next to Flex and being like, oh shit, I could talk on the mic too.
Now it's amazing because you were talking about like you overheard a lot of people talking about who they wanted to bring on like as a flagship DJ for Hot 97, the new rap format.
Yeah.
And Flex's name kept coming in with other DJs' names, but you were familiar with Flex because you had seen Flex at
Club 2000.
You used to hang out at Club 2000?
Isn't that crazy?
Yo, Angie, Club 2000,
Club 2000.
Yo, a lot of niggas don't know about Club 2000.
A lot of things I know that a lot of people don't know.
What? Yo, Club 2000 was in the cut.
You know who was doing Club 2000 too? Desiree from Rock Nation was like running Club 2000. I believe she hired Flex to be the DJ.
Was it like
there.
also like Mecca Audio? Weren't they doing something there too at the time?
Mecca,
it was a dangerous place, but it was so fun.
I've been to many dangerous clubs in my life.
If you say Club 2000, I know.
And I had no reason to be there. I wasn't getting paid to be there.
A lot of people didn't have reason to be there.
I was just there because I loved it. I was happy to be in the building. Yeah.
But you had seen Flex and you knew that he was the one. So I knew
he was official.
You started advocating for him to be there.
I think it was kind of like there wasn't a lot of it was a dance station, so there wasn't a lot of people of the culture in the building at that time. So when they did talk about bringing him in, it wasn't necessary. I was a kid. It wasn't like anybody gave a shit about my opinion. Right. It was
but in a sense, they did, too.
In a kind of a weird way. Like, she's one of the hip-hop kids. Ask her what she thinks. You know what I mean? It was kind of like in that type of way. I don't think in any way did I sway or, make them hire him. Right. But I was excited. I was like, yes. I was like, yes, he's at Club 2000. He's popping.
It's the most official, grimiest club in New York.
Yeah, like the other DJs they had, they were like, no disrespect to any of them, but it was like MTV DJs, like, like Scribble.
Right.
No disrespect to Scribble, but I'm just saying there was nobody that was at Club 2000.
That was coming from the earth that we was coming from.
That was coming from the New York streets, clubs, hip hop, like, playing, bringing back records and doing all of that shit.
You know, one thing, if you can, best describe it because you were there from before the switch. Mm-hmm. Like, can you describe that the first day that they made that switch from like dance to hip hop?
Not really, because it was gradual.
It was gradual.
First, it was like, we're gonna try. Let's put in this, and it was the safe ones. Right. It was like, let's try these like Naughty by Nature type of records and see there, and try to keep one foot in the dance world. So they still be playing like CNC Music Factory and like, Marky Mark.
The
Funky Bunch, K7, like those type of dance records. Right. But then they would throw in like a, Black Sheep,
right,
or like a House of Pain,
right.
And
I remember Tribe. They played a lot of Tribe.
Tribe was then they start and it started working, and then in that process too, like the old regime was still there, so the dance jocks were still there,
right. And they were tight.
They weren't thrilled. I mean, I wouldn't have been thrilled if somebody came in and tried to switch formats on me.
Right.
So yeah, so that it was a slow process, and people fought it, and but it just kept working, and the ratings kept getting better. And then when Steve Smith came in, he was the new program director. They brought him in. They just kind of were like, you know what, we're gonna go, 100%. we're gonna lock in, we're gonna really do this, and we want you. We think you could be good on the air, but the only way you're going to get good is if you're on every day.
Right.
So do you want to do overnights? And I was like, yes.
I just want in.
Fuck yeah. and so that's how I got, that was like my big break.
Talk about the early days with you helping Flex and how were those days?
I just was like happy to be in his presence and happy to like see this all happening. It's happy to see, because he came in already like focused, if I could, in a weird way. I don't know how he would have been so focused, so young, and so like at the beginning of something, but he came in on a mission. Like, he wasn't there like messing around. He came in with jackets and promo and the tunnel
Team
and
Flex and all
like,
of that.
Yeah, he was really came
Organized.
in to make to make it happen and to make it work. And so I was in awe of all of that. And so I learned a lot from him about just the business and all of that. So I just was like a sponge at that time.
But what's amazing is you talk about how during those early days, Flex didn't want to talk. Like, Flex loves to run his mouth now.
Yeah.
Like, he loves to talk, but back then he didn't want to talk, right?
Yeah, because it was like a weird thing. He just wanted to DJ.
Right.
He's like a real DJ at heart, So all he wanted to do was DJ. He didn't want to crack the mic. And then he had to be like, listen, you got to be on the radio. You got to crack the mic.
So he started talking to you.
So he would talk to me, right? Because he was nervous. He would
Right.
be uncomfortable.
Right.
So he'd be like, oh, right, Ange? And I'm like, yeah, Flex, sure.
And that's what brought your voice. Like,
And that's when I started to get
okay.
comfortable on the radio, standing next to him.
So how was it once you really got your slot? Like, how excited, how nervous was
I was
it?
terrible, and
Right.
I was nervous, and I was like, I didn't know what it was going to be, but none of us did. We didn't
Right.
even know if that format was going to work. We didn't know if this was going to be like 6 months, and then they're going to go back to dance. Like, none of us knew. It was just like an opportunity, and you jump in, and you try your best, and you see what happens. And lucky for us, it worked, like in a big way.
When did you realize that you actually started finding your voice?
Well, that was like much later.
Right.
It took me a while. I think I was just looking for it,
Right.
trying to figure out what my position was, just looking for it. And probably not until like way in the afternoons.
Right.
After I had to make
After you
some
got-
changes, after I got beat up a little bit,
Mhm.
after I had to start to get a little thick skin
Right.
and learn to deal with criticism. And
You didn't like criticism at first?
nobody likes criticism, but you need it
Right.
because it helps you grow, because it helps you learn how to stand your ground.
What would you
When
hear?
people
What
are-
were the things that you would hear?
Anything, like what's she doing? Who is she? She's whack. She's whatever. Anybody can say anything all day. They
Right.
still say it to this day. I posted something yesterday. I was looking at the comments. I was like, y'all motherfuckers are miserable. Like, I'm just out here trying to work. Like, I don't know what is your problem. But even still, back then, there's always noise. There's always people. There's always opposition.
yes.
And I think if you don't have that, you don't get a chance to, number one, develop some thick skin, but also number two, learn how to stand your own ground and who you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because people get wobbled by that.
There's this one. Now that you bring that up, there's this one incident where with the van with the truck.
Yeah.
Right? And you had to. Can you tell us about that? This is the first time
that
that
was
you
like
really
early.
had to stand.
I wasn't on the air yet. I
Right.
was just working on the street team.
Right.
And I took the van home because I had been, pushing I was doing like 3 shifts back to back, driving these DJs around, like whatever they wanted me to do, I did it. And I wasn't sleeping. I was doing clubs. I was still going to community college, trying to do that. And so I kept the van home, and you weren't supposed to do that. They were like firing people at the time for that.
Like, it was strict. Like,
Like,
zero
you cannot,
tolerance.
like, street team members cannot take the van home.
Right.
It has to go back to the lot. By the way, the lot was disgusting.
Rats and shit.
Rats, shit, everything.
Rats and shit.
They used to store, the hot dog vendors. They used to store the hot dog things in there. So
Right.
it would be like hot dog, dirty water
Yeah.
on the floor. It's
Smelling like a body next
nah,
to
it was
body.
It was horrible, right?
It's old New York.
This is old New York, yeah, right. So then I would have to park in there in the middle of the night, go home, and I was like, you know what? I just took the van home,
Right.
and I got caught because I got a ticket, and almost got fired. And I'd say in the book, like, that could have been it. I would have
And
never had a
they
career.
were arguing. You were in a meeting, and they were arguing about your fate.
In front of me, like,
Right.
I didn't matter.
Right.
And I was just sitting there, and I was just so, like, I don't want to say timid, but I was so grateful and so, like, open to opportunity, like, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, that I kind of just didn't ever talk back to anybody or anything like that. And then, I don't know, something about sitting in that room and watching people talk about me after I knew I had been busting my ass, something about it just, I don't know, something clicked, and I was like, hold up. Like, y'all not gonna just be talking about me like I'm not sitting right here and not have been, with all due respect.
Right. With all due respect. But y'all are not going to spill my blood.
Yeah, and in front of me,
Right.
and I have no voice here.
Right.
Like, first of all, none of you in this room have even asked me why I took the van home. How about that? How about enough respect for me as a human being? Somebody who busting her ass around here to even ask me what happened.
Right.
And so I got a little hostile. And not hostile, but I stuck,
A little
I stuck my
aggressive.
chest out a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
you said it with your chest.
And they were like, oh, okay, well, let us meet and we'll bring you back in or whatever. and to her credit, Judy Ellis, who was the general manager, who's just this dope little feisty lady, she was like, the next day, she was like, yo, I was like really proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it made me feel good. And she was like, I'm not going to fire you. It's just like, but just don't take the van home. I was like, okay. But it I don't know, those moments, I share a lot of those specific moments in the book because I do think it takes time to find your own voice and to be confident in it.
And to apply it.
Right. Because you have to. Because you will get eaten up alive out here if you don't. Not to say you need to be arrogant, you need to fight every battle, you're not to that, but you need to know what you stand for. You need to know what matters to you, and you need to be able to, like, use your mouth, use your voice when you need it.
I didn't know. Like I've known.
It's so funny you picked up because I think I've been talking to people, and a lot of people, we've been talking about specific things in the
Right.
book, but really the overriding theme of it really is finding your voice. It's like there's so many parts of my career where I had to learn that.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
the book is called My Voice, right?
I know, but
Right?
but I'm glad you got that. I'm glad you felt that.
You know,
one.
I'm amazed at his contributions with records, particularly with Fugees and Nas, but I didn't know how instrumental Salam Remy was in the early days of Hot 97.
Oh yeah, and well, he was a good friend to me, and he
Right.
was also a good friend to Flex.
Right. What was his role there?
He used to call him the overseer
Right.
back. He used to call him Salam the overseer. I think Flex also had a good relationship with Salam's dad, Van,
Okay.
and Salam really just would be there to like hold Flex down. You know, he used to like write down all the songs he played to give him a lot. I think he was just like his boy.
Right.
I'm not even sure
If
what
he had like a role there,
I don't even know if he had a role. I don't know if there was any type of financial interest.
right,
I don't know what. All I know is that he used to always be with
He was
Flex.
holding Flex down,
While he would hold Flex down, he'd be in the studio with me.
right? Because he started holding you down.
Because then he would start holding me
Right.
down. And so we built our own friendship. And Salam and I we have like similar, like asshole sense of humor.
Yeah, like dry and
like
shit.
dry and stupid and snarky. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
we just vibed right away and became good friends. Yeah.
So you had Battle of the Beats
Yeah.
on your slot, right?
Uh-huh.
And Lauren,
Salam helped me come up with a name for that.
which is crazy. And how popular was that? Like the Battle of the Beats?
It was
Because
a-
these cats right now don't really know
No,
what that
it was
is.
a big deal.
Right.
It was a big deal. You know, it was
You were
two
breaking
new songs.
artists. You
We
were
were
two-
breaking
right.
artists. We would get a list of all the new songs that would come out, and then we would like just pick two,
Right.
put them up against each other, and see what happened. But people were like so invested in it. They used to call and complain when they didn't like the winner, and it was just like people got so. It's like when you sit around in the cipher and talk about who's your favorite top five.
Right.
Everybody starts arguing.
That nigga's your top
Yeah,
five.
it's
Yes,
always
he's
like
in my top
people
five.
just get so, and so that's what Battle of the Beats
But
did.
back then, though, it was more at stake because to be on the Battle of the Beats,
Yeah,
to
it was like
win-
prime time.
It was like the difference between
Yeah.
buddy, go back to the studio or you in the game.
And keep in mind, most of those artists were from New York,
Right.
because of that era, most of the hip hop was coming
course,
out of
of
New
course.
York, and then you got to be on the big hip hop station in
Right.
New York, and so yeah, it was a big deal.
You talk about how, one of the records that stood out was In My Lifetime by Jay-Z, and how he was winning consistently.
Yeah, he told me later that he had everybody. They had everybody that they knew calling.
Really? So the game was rigged. They must have known a whole lot of motherfuckers.
I'm sure they weren't the only ones that was doing that, by the way. But yeah,
But
they
he
must
stood
have
out.
known.
Like you saw something, particularly when
Yeah,
you met.
how could you not?
Right.
First of all, he just sounded like something.
So cocky.
Just sounded like something. You know what I'm saying? Well, not really. I don't think I really was like so brilliant and that I could see what his future would
Right.
be. But I was just like, this sounds like something.
Right.
And then when they showed up, their presence and their presentation.
What was that first meeting like? Can you walk us through that? Because Damon, his big head, was there
I
too.
mean, Damon alone is a movie.
Right.
Especially then.
Yes.
He was
Dame never changed.
No, but he was even more of a movie.
Yeah.
You're right though. He never
Never changed.
He just was a movie. He would show up with these bottles, and they had the buggy eye Benzes with the Rockefeller logos on them, and they were, he was cocky and arrogant and funny but likable.
Right.
And it just felt like a movement. It felt like something was happening with these guys.
How were your early conversations with Jay? Because one of the things that we all marvel at is how you guys built such a flourishing relationship over the years.
Yeah, I think they're exactly what people think they are. I think Jay is super everybody knows he's super smart, but he's also he just is like a real person. And if you are real with him, I think that goes a long way. Yeah. And I think we've always had that kind of thing since the beginning. And there was always like a mutual respect.
Right.
So, and honestly, I can't lie. Like he's been consistent with me throughout. Like,
that's dope.
Of course I've seen him at every stage. We've interviewed.
You've seen him at
pretty much every stage, and at no stage has he ever fronted on me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Acted weird. He's never.
Because a lot of artists, when they get to a certain level,
which by the way is understandable, because sometimes you need a time to adjust.
Right.
Sometimes you're not used to all the fame. You're not used to all the attention. You're not used to the lifestyle, and sometimes people get a little weird moment. I gotta say, in all the years that I've known Jay, I've never had a weird moment.
Right.
I've never like seen him somewhere and been like, "Who's that guy?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
who are you?
and I'm not, I don't know his interactions with everybody else,
Right.
but with mine went, and I appreciate that so much about people. And so that's one of the things that I think there's like a genuine kind of like just admiration for. And so yeah, it just was that. It just was just a respect. I mean, the thing is the weird thing is I have that type of relationship with a few people in the business. I know people that tend to like resonate and want to know about that one because he's Jay-Z.
Right.
But I have a similar relationship with Salam.
Mm-hmm.
I have a similar relationship, with a lot of people. With you know what I mean. I could go down a list of people that you probably don't care about. I mean, as much as a Jay-Z.
That's true.
But
maybe not. Yeah.
It's just that Jay happens to be, at the top of his game, and he's
greatest rapper alive.
Right. So I know that that's interesting, but he's just good people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it was. That was the basis of it.
One of the things that comes out in the book is how much fun y'all had at Hot 97 back in the day, because it was freestyle. There was no rules. It was like, you broke who you wanted to break, and it was like, can you talk about that freedom there at the time?
Yeah, man.
Don't take the van home, but other than that, like
yeah, that was it. It was kind of like I don't think anybody knew.
Right.
I don't think anybody. It was like throwing shit at the wall to see what would stick.
Right.
And I think so. We had the luxury of that, which was so dope. But I don't think anybody knew. And honestly, it wasn't like we had a hip hop general manager and a hip hop program director, so they could be like, nah, you shouldn't do that. They didn't know.
Right.
So they'd be like, that's what Flex wants to do? Okay. That's what you're supposed to be. Okay. So we kind of.
So you guys were leading.
We were leading.
You were leading the charge.
We were leading the charge.
Right. Do you miss those days? Because radio's changed so much.
It has, but I'm not someone to miss days.
Right.
That was dope, but there's dope stuff about now. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I have a lot of. I feel like I am more secure in my own voice and my own and things I want to do, and I'm also aware of like this whole big world of opportunity. And whereas before, I was just kind of in the moment. Now I could kind of look around and see all the options.
You can think.
Yeah, I could think a little bit clearer.
Strategize. And
yeah,
you could
exactly.
Move. Right.
Just being more seasoned and being there's a benefit to that, and there's something I enjoy about that too. So it's not like, oh, I wish I could still be back in those times.
Right.
Because there's also a benefit to having those experiences and being able to use them now and execute them now.
You talk about how radio back then really was Twitter, like radio in the 90s was like how so?
Well, shit, we didn't. That was it.
Right.
How we get Twitter now? We go to Twitter in the morning to see what was popping, who said what about who, and blah, blah, blah. What did you do that then? You had to turn the radio on. There was no Twitter. So it was like, who was at the club last night? What happened? Oh, there was a fight. Let me turn the radio on to see if they talk about it, because that's the only place I'm going to get this news.
There's a new diss record,
Yes.
That's crazy.
That was all there. That was it.
Like, when you say that, though, I remember that, because I remember, like, incidents where we would just stop everything that we was doing.
Yeah.
Just like how we be on our timelines right now. We would just stop and listen to the radio, man.
Yeah, when there's like a hashtag or a meme that's going, everybody just stops and goes around that, and that's how it was with the radio.
Could you imagine the takeover ether thing?
No, I don't know. And I swear,
Twitter
I don't
would
know.
Fucking break.
I don't know that. And it's funny because when I was reading, I'm doing the audiobook now, so I'm like reading it. I'm reading it back, and I'm looking at how quickly Jay bounced back from ether, right?
Or even Nas, like he took time.
Both.
Yes,
Nas took time, right? But how both of them kind of bounced back from that, but Jay especially, because that was an L that people didn't see coming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the fact that he was able to bounce back so quickly, I don't know if in this day, it would have been that easy. You know what I'm saying?
That Meek Millie,
because everybody
Meek
got
Millie.
I mean, we talked about that in the comparison a lot. It's a different day. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
but you just have to have a different strategy.
That's all. Of course. Talk about your relationship with Tupac and how he called you out of the blue, particularly during this whole East Coast, West Coast stay.
Oh man!
And how that was like a turning point for you.
It really was.
Right.
Because when we talk about like finding my voice, that was the first time I felt
Hold up, I'm trying to find my voice. Let me crack this.
Crack that monster.
Monster.
Oh, and look at that.
Shout out to my people over at Monster. Hold on for a second, Angie.
Yeah, no, carry on. That looks. Let me have some.
It's so refreshing. Now I feel
energized and ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's
second half.
Take that sip, Angie.
All right.
Take that to the head.
Entertain the people while I do this.
There you go.
That's good.
Cool and refreshing.
That's actually really good. I can't lie. What is this?
This is, I don't know. What flavor is this? It's the green flavor.
You don't even know what you're giving me?
It's the green flavor. Listen, it's green. That's all you need to know.
Is that like,
when you go
does that mean melon or lime?
No,
like,
when you go to the store, let me get the green one.
That's what you asked for? Is that like green
it's original,
apple?
It's the original.
Oh.
It's the original.
Perfect.
You like that, right? It's tasty, right? Imagine this with like a couple of shots. Something like vodka or something in there.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
This is actually really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Shout out to Monster. So anyway, hey, yo, internets, this episode of the Combat Jack Show is brought to you by Loot Crate, Loot Crate, Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. For less than $20 a month, you get 4 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/combat, COMBAT, and enter code COMBAT, COMBAT, to save $3 on any new subscription. Loot Crate is more than just a subscription service. It's an entire community of fans that share their experience and interact with each other around the unboxing of each month's crate. Listen, I just got the illest horn, like a cow horn that you could put beer and alcohol and juice and milk in and just drink it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's like, and I think that from what I understand, it's part of the whole Game of Thrones rollout. So I got a motherfucking, fuck your mugs. Fuck your martini glasses, nigga. I got a fucking horn that I'm going to be carrying around with me from club to club right now. When y'all see Combat, I'm Combat Horn. Anyway, man, listen, Loot Crate is more than just a subscription service, and they guarantee $40 plus value in every crate. Sometimes it's a lot more. Every month there's a different theme, and all items are curated around that theme. Previous crates have included items from franchises like Star Wars, Marvel, The Walking Dead, The Legend of Zelda, Game of Thrones, and many, 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 many more. Yo, I'm so mad that I missed out on the Daredevil beanies. They got the Daredevil, like, reversible. Like, one side is Daredevil, and the other side is the Punisher. Fuck, that's amazing. The onslaught of big summer blockbusters makes May the perfect time to celebrate some of pop culture's unstoppable, unrelenting, and unbeatable characters and objects. We got something you can carry, something for your kitchen, and a cool figure to go with our monthly tee and pin. Featuring 2 Marvel items plus Warcraft and Dragon Ball Z. No one crate should have all this power. Internets. Remember, you only have until the 19th of May at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. Finito. Go home. So go to lootcrate.com/combat and enter promo code COMBAT to save $3 on your new subscription today. And now back to the show. Pivotal point with you and Tupac.
Yeah.
And how, like, you became the voice of...
Oh, what I was saying is, like, in that moment, I realized...
What happened? What happened exactly?
I realized, I could... If I mess this up or if I say the wrong thing, this could actually matter.
Right.
Before that, it was like, say whatever I want to say on the radio. Who cares? Nobody cares.
And isn't it crazy, like, when you have your voice and you're discovering your voice, I think most of us, we're kind of careless with it. We're trying to discover, we're trying to figure out the leaps and bounds and the boundaries. And then something happens and it's like, oh shit, I really have to be more responsible.
Mm-hmm. I have to be responsible.
With what I say.
But it's also empowering because it gives you the hope that you could actually use your voice in a good way.
Right.
So it's like scary, but then it's also like you feel empowered by that. Like, oh shit, I could actually...
You could push things.
Yeah, I could try.
So what happened with Tupac? Like, he gives you a call.
Yeah, I didn't know him. I had never met him. Never met him. I think when he was in jail, he used to hear me on the radio. Right. And so, later he had sent me a letter and told me that I never dirted his name on the air.
Because a lot of people were?
At that time, yeah.
Because we felt the weird way about Tupac shitting
on Big, yeah.
On Big, and then New York in a sense.
Yeah, and so did I, to an extent. But I just didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't focus on that.
Right.
I still thought it was, terrible when he got shot. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a human being.
Right, of course.
But I didn't know how to feel about it either. So when they called and asked me if I wanted to be in his video, I said no. Just because I didn't want to stand next to that. Right. I didn't know what he was standing for. Right. It was noisy. It was hostile.
Negative, man.
It was a volatile time. And I was like, I don't really want to stand next to you right now.
Which is smart, though.
And so then...
It's real smart, Angie.
Well, you know, I also had to be in these streets.
Right.
I didn't even want to. I just didn't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I...
you smart.
You smart. So I said no to the label person
Right.
who called me about it. And then they called me back and they were like, okay, Pac wants to know if he could call you himself. I'm like, yeah, fine, I don't care. And so he called and he was like, so why you feel like that? Like, what? I don't got no beef with you. How am I? And then he started going on, how am I gonna have a beef with a whole city? And he was like, I just liked him right away. Like,
But
the way his delivery, like, he was funny, but he was also, like, super smart.
Right.
And so I was intrigued, like, wait a minute.
But did he not really realize, like, how polarizing his shit was?
Of course he did.
Okay.
He was so smart.
Right.
But he could talk his way around anything.
Right.
So I was like, well, people haven't heard you say that. If you're saying people are taking things wrong, then you should come up to the show and let's do an interview. And he was like, he was shooting a movie. So he's like, now you got to come to, I'll do it, but you got to come to LA. I'll fly you. I'll take, whatever. I'll take care of all the expenses. Just come out. And I just said, okay. And so I went and, and then he said all kinds of crazy shit that if I would have brought it back, it would have made it worse. And I was like, I'm not here to make it worse.
Right.
I'm here because I was really desperately trying to make it better.
Right.
And
you wanted to give him a platform where he could explain himself.
Yes. And
clearly,
some of the things he said were amazing and like groundbreaking and smart. And then some of the things he said were like awful and like insightful, like just like he was trying to incite a riot.
Right.
Like, I don't know what was going on with him. And also I was in his house.
Right.
It wasn't like I had him on my terms. People are always like, well, why didn't you get it? Even when I did this Birdman, why you ain't get it? I'm like, I'm in that man's house.
Right.
Like, come on, man. You get a certain amount of respect you have for somebody in their home.
Right.
So I'm in his house. All the outlaws are there. I'm, by myself. I got like one guy with me that I don't really know that well. He was like Ed Lover's friend who lived in LA. He was there with me. You know what I'm saying? Like
there's a lot going on.
They're smoking weed. He's fired up. He's talking shit. And he just, he said a lot of things that I thought would have made it worse.
So you get back, you have this interview right now.
Yeah.
And you get back and everybody's looking at you like, yo, she's got the juice right now. Like people were kind of nervous of what information you had.
Yeah.
Like internally at the station and externally also.
Yeah. So I had to make a decision.
Right. And what was the decision?
Well, I think everybody knows what the decision is. People are still like cursing at me online every single day about it.
How so?
Where's the Tupac interview? Drop the Tupac interview, bitch. Like,
did the interview not make it at all?
No, I only aired like 12 minutes of the 2.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I talk about in the book too
how
I felt about that, and I also talk about having a chance to kind of talk to him about it after.
Right.
And having that like one last interaction with him before he got back on a plane and went to Vegas, and everybody knows what happened there. So it was like a very short blip when I look at the whole history of my career in terms of time, but it was so powerful and it meant so much to me for so many reasons. Number one, I took a stand in how I was going to choose to use my voice and my platform.
Right.
And
meaning you were not going to be censored. You weren't going to be bullied in a sense.
No, meaning like, yes, this could be a huge interview, and I know some people like you got to put it out. I went with my own guts because I needed to sleep at night, and I did what I thought was the right thing, and I'm so happy that I did. But also, just in terms of how you respect people, and so I didn't air it. I was worried he was going to be mad.
Right.
But I showed him so much respect that he couldn't even be mad.
Right. But what was also insightful is how much pressure you guys were getting from Puffy not to air the interview.
Yeah. And I get that.
Right. From
his standpoint, I get that. He was probably worried about his team, about Big, about himself, about Bad Boy, about his family, And so I got that. However, that was not my...
You weren't interested in that, in a sense.
No, because I was just interested in doing the right thing.
Right, of course.
I'm not here to protect you, Puff.
Right.
I'm here to do the right thing. And so I will figure out what that is. Right. And
did that set the tone for like your future relationship with Puff?
The little combativeness.
Yeah, you and Puff y'all wasn't.
We had a little combativeness,
a little
over
beef
the years.
going on, right?
It wasn't so much beef, and I enjoy him, and I respect. You know what I'm saying? Like his legacy, and I want to go to the show at the Barclay.
I want to go too.
You know what I'm saying? That shit is gonna be crazy.
Crazy
You
Kim
know,
comes out.
he did. We've had great moments
Right.
also, but we've had some combative moments over the year. But by the way, I'm not the only person because Puff has had some combative moments with a lot of people.
Yo, what up, Steve Styles?
Shout out to Steve Styles. Shout out to, you know what I mean? Even the Locks. I mean,
word. Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like all types of stuff.
Right.
And that happened on my show too with the Locks, that whole thing.
I want to get to that too, man.
I mean, him and Kim have had moments. They've
Right.
made up. He's had moments with a lot of people. He's a polarizing, aggressive guy.
Yes, he is.
And so he might
Mr.
piss
New
you
York.
off.
Yep.
But the truth is, you know, we're all grown-ups. We get past it.
Exactly.
But in telling my story, it wouldn't have been honest and it wouldn't have been transparent if I didn't tell some of those moments.
Do you still have the box of Newports?
I do. I
From
just don't know.
Tupac's-
I'm
Tupac's
sure I do in
Box,
storage.
yo, you got to put that shit in the case. Like, these are Tupac's Newport, son.
I'm gonna maybe
Is any cigarettes? Is there like did you any more cigarettes? You smoked the last one? Yo. Another thing that you talked about was, you know, in a sense, you know, all you guys at Hot 97, you guys were family. Like you guys were on the same team. It was like my show wins, your show wins, and then you start noticing this competitive nature, even between, like, say, you and Flex.
That was early.
Yeah. Like, can you talk about that? Because you were really affected by that initially. Like, Flex is my boy. Like, there's some tension between us.
Yeah, but
right
anybody who knows Flex knows that he is wildly competitive.
See, I don't know Flex like that, so I've never worked with Flex. You know
Super
what I mean?
competitive, but you know from his personality, his persona.
But I've never been behind the lines with him.
Yeah,
You're behind the lines with him, so
yeah,
you have
and
a
so
different.
early on in the game,
Right.
before we had before we had a chance to really develop a trust and a friendship on a real level, there was some of that. There was some like competitiveness that happened because there was no competition. So there was no other station.
Right.
All we could do is compete against each
Right,
other
right.
because that's all we had.
Right.
So for somebody like Flex, he's looking around like, well, she ain't on my team no more. So
Damn.
yeah, and so I think that
And
kinda,
that shook you. You were like, come on. And it's like,
it did. It hurt me because I felt like we were a team, and I'm not wired like that.
Right.
I don't.
yeah, I don't like that shit either, man.
I'm
like
not into
that
I
dumb
don't like-
competition.
Some people are like fired up by like when people get at them.
Right.
I don't like that type of shit. I'm not into negative energy. I don't need competition to motivate me. I'm self motivated.
Right.
You
You're
know what I'm
competing
saying?
against yourself.
Like I'm wired a
Like,
little
I was
different.
hot yesterday. Let me be hotter today.
Let me try to beat
Right.
what I did yesterday, or let me
Exactly.
try to grow or learn something or whatever. So I'm not wired that way. He's wired that way,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with it. It's made him have an amazing career.
Still.
It's just early on I didn't understand.
Right.
And so I talk about that, and I talk about having some real conversations with him, and us getting past that. And the beauty
Like
about
you melted his shield, in a sense.
in a way, right?
Right.
And but when you melt somebody's shield and you see their heart, and his heart is good in terms of my relationship. Like I love Flex.
Right.
I would do if he called me now and broke down on the side of the road. I would go take my car and give him
That's dope.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like adore him. So but I know his heart.
Right.
So I could say that at one point we had that moment
Right.
and got past it. And you know, and he was great to me after that. From that moment on.
Right.
And there were a lot of years after that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I mean, we would have arguments.
Of course.
But,
I mean, family has arguments, right?
100%.
Yeah. I talked to some cats today from the UK, and they were like, "Yo, we got Angie's first 2 CDs. We got the first one and the second one. When she coming down to the UK, we love her as a rapper."
I know. So if anybody's listening from the UK, please bring me
UK,
there.
what up? No,
UK, what up?
UK always listens.
They don't bring me there. I want to go.
Yo, UK, bring her down there. Yo, Brooklyn Bowl.
I haven't really spent a lot of time out there.
There's a
since,
Brooklyn
like,
Bowl in the UK that I'm
there
going to.
is?
Yeah, that's where I'm going in July.
They brought you? They don't bring me.
I'm from Brooklyn.
You got to give me the plug.
I'll give you the plug. I'm giving you the plug right now, Angie.
All right, good.
You got the plug, Angie. Brooklyn Bowl. Bring Angie Martinez
Word.
down
How you got
to the
Brooklyn
UK.
Bowl?
What up, mate?
Yeah.
Shut down. Anyway.
So when you go, what do you do? You're hosting and you're...
Yeah, easy, easy,
you
easy.
do?
Angie, you're not interviewing me.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Can't help
interviewing
it.
you.
This is really an exercise for me.
Yeah,
to
you like
learn
this?
how-
Do you like being on that side of the mic?
Sometimes.
You don't? Like,
Not really. It's a test.
right.
Have to like and so you're really good at what you do.
You think so?
Yes, 100%.
blushed
Otherwise,
right now.
I would have interrupted you 7 times.
Okay. Like how I interrupt
if
you.
I didn't like our conversation, I would start to lead the conversation.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how you know. Like I'm like answering your question. I'm engaged.
Thank you, Angie.
But I feel
I'm
like if
honored.
I was bored or if I feel like
You're not bored yet?
then I would leave.
Yes,
I would feel just because I'm unwired. I would
Right.
feel compelled to want to like help lead the conversation.
Right. No, okay. Thank you, Angie.
But so I feel like a guest in your house. I don't feel like I
Thank
need
you so
to.
much.
It's actually quite relaxing.
It's relaxing, right? Well, you know what it is? I like being on your side. It's because it's so much work, I think, to conduct the interview, to prepare for the interview and conduct it. So I like sitting in your seat. And I do hate stupid questions because it's like, nigga, y'all, this shit has been out for 7 years. You know what I mean? Tell me something I don't know about myself. But anyway, let's talk about how KRS really started your rap career.
But you want to tell them the whole book, though.
Listen, we're not telling the whole book.
No,
we're not
right.
talking about how you smoke crack, Angie.
Yo, really, though?
Yo, what?
At one time by accident.
Yo, hey, leave it in the
accident.
Hey, it's in the book. It's in the book. You got to pick up the
Jesus.
book to hear about Angie Martinez's crack story.
Yo, stop
How
it.
she was on the corner.
It was
serving them dubs.
He's the liar.
Yo,
He's lying.
you serving them dubs, so we're not going to talk. So anyway, KRS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's a big part of your career.
It is. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I was doing a club. I was hosting parties. A lot of them at the time. I used to be on the mic, just talking to the crowd, doing the whole, crowd thing. And he was there that night performing. And then after, he was like, yo, you're good. You're really good on the mic. There's not a lot of girls that I see that could be on the mic and like command the crowd like that. And so he was like, you should jump on a record, or you should come to the studio one night. I was like, shut up. What are you talking about?
It's the Blastmaster KRS-One.
Exactly.
No.
And so, but of course you go because you want to see, you know what I mean? And so I went, and when I went, Redman was there.
Oh my God.
Which was.
So it's like you got two atom bombs.
So I didn't know what the fuck I was doing there. And he threw me on this Heartbeat record. And
he wrote your lyrics.
He did. He wrote it.
How intimidating was it, Angie? Seriously, because this is KRS-One, and you're a hip hop fan.
I thought it was stupid and ridiculous.
Right.
I didn't think in any way that this would come out.
Right.
He was like, I just want to try. I just want to see what you sound like. I'm gonna write something for you, though. I was like, okay, fine. If some KRS says, here, say this rap that I'm giving you, I'm like, all right, fine. So I did it, and I remember I told him the story in the book too, but I never forget coming out the booth feeling so stupid. And Redman sitting there smoking a blunt. He was like, "Yo, I can't front. You sound alright on that." Because I think he was surprised when he saw me there too. Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
You're the girl from the radio. You can't be making
records.
records.
You made a record.
But I just looked at it like a one-off. Like that was a fun, dope night, a great experience. But then he put it out, and then people liked it, some, and enough for to hear it, and then call me to be on Ladies Night,
which is crazy because
then now I have to write myself, and I had never written
that
anything.
Record was nominated for a Grammys, right? Did it win a Grammy?
No, we lost. I think it was to I'll Be Missing You.
Right.
To Puff.
Right.
But
can you believe?
Again.
Can you believe some shit that you accidentally fell into is now bringing you to the Grammys?
No, I could not. It was all crazy.
Crazy.
The Grammys, the MTV Awards, all of that.
Angie, that's not just luck, though. What do you think that is?
No, I think it is. It's part luck, but it's also part showing up, right? It's like you have these opportunities, and I say this, we just did these colleges the other day. I'm like, sometimes you might not be clear about your passion. You might not be clear about your end goal, but pay attention to opportunity. And if you don't know, just show up.
Just show up.
Because if you fail, so what? Chances are you're going to learn something. Just show up when you see opportunity. A
lot of people don't show up.
No, they don't show up. I don't know I'm going to do that. I could have easily said to KRS, I don't rap. I'm not going to go there. And then that would have been no Ladies Night. That would have been no albums. That would have been no traveling.
No budgets.
No budgets.
No budgets. No advances.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to just show up. I didn't know what was going to happen when I went there by myself to the studio. Trusted, like, this sounds like a fun opportunity. Let me see. I always tell my kid this, too. I'm like, pay attention to opportunities. Don't be afraid to be out of your comfort zone. It's
especially
all right.
Now,
It's okay to fail. It's okay to sometimes be whack. Like, you have to be whack before you get good.
You gotta be whack.
Stop trying to be great out the gate.
You
like,
gotta
give
be
yourself
whack.
a chance to,
Yes.
And so I never was afraid of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where.
So even though you had this thin skin in a sense, with regard to criticism, you still had a thick skin in terms of like, regardless if you were going to fail or not.
I had thin skin, and so it did hurt my feelings, and it did bother me, but it didn't stop me from showing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yes,
because you got heart, Angie.
I think so.
Yep.
No, I do think
so too.
So yeah, so not to say shit don't hurt my feelings.
Right, of course, still
even today,
on Twitter.
But it doesn't.
Like, who the fuck does she think she is?
But it
author.
doesn't stop. But it doesn't stop me.
Good. How was Q-Tip as a boyfriend?
Oh gosh, really?
Yes, really.
Let me ask you about a girlfriend you had about 15 years ago, and have you talk about that. Wouldn't that be weird?
No.
No.
No. If it's a public part of my life.
No, I'm just kidding. But that's how weird it is for me.
Okay, because we
dated so long ago.
Right, but he saved your life.
Kind of. He almost killed me also in the same token. He almost killed you,
but he saved your life.
But him and I were friends before we dated for like a year or two.
Right.
Then we dated for like a year and a half, whatever. Then we were friends for 10, 15 years after that.
Right.
So the small period of time where we were together.
Right. But I'm saying
it's weird to talk about that now because we don't see each other. Right. I don't see him in that way.
I can just imagine how cute y'all were together.
Nah, I mean,
right? Listening to records, eating pizza.
Really?
You're passing the blunt around.
He didn't smoke. He didn't smoke.
He didn't smoke, so you did, right?
I totally did. I totally did. Yeah, he was like converting to Islam, and I was smoking blunts.
It was not going to work.
Not a good time.
You were not going to put on a hijab, and
it didn't work. It wasn't gonna work.
Yo, Angie turned Muslim.
I mean, look, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but that would have been an ill turn, right? I know you talk about this, but my audience wants to hear, and I actually asked her, and she didn't answer it. When you put hands on,
I'm good at that.
You're good
you
at
asked who? You asked Wendy about it?
Yeah, she didn't.
Oh, I'm sure she wouldn't talk about that.
You put hands on Wendy, yo? Like, you was really, like Angie, you nice with your hands like that?
Stop it.
Are you nice with the hands?
Did I say that in the book?
No, I'm asking you. Were you nice with your hands?
No, I'm not somebody who likes to fight.
But you've had fights before?
Yeah.
Really?
Hasn't it? I mean, yeah.
As a
I tell about two of them in the book.
Right. We only going to talk about one of them.
Right, and only one is of interest to you right now. You don't care about the girl that I talk about at junior high school that I fought?
Talk about that then.
It's okay.
You talk about that too.
It's fine.
No, we can talk about that. Come on. See, now you're playing hard to get. No.
I'm not a fighter. I don't like to fight. Right. It's not like I don't want to fight ever.
No one's saying you're a fighter, but
don't want to fight anybody.
You're not
ever.
A punk.
Well, I don't want to be continuously disrespected by anybody.
Right.
And so I will do whatever I can to not be disrespected.
Right.
And sometimes...
And you were taking a lot of disrespect.
A lot.
And you talk about, like, over and over, you were like, Wendy, stop disrespecting me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what happened?
You know what happened. You read the book.
My audience didn't... Listen, the book comes out today.
Yeah, you guys can
find out. We want to sell this book.
Go read the book.
We want to sell this book.
Here's the thing. The reason why I feel weird talking about it, because it's like, it was a blip. It was a moment. I tell that story because the truth is that sometimes that happens. Sometimes people will corner you and push you to that point.
Right.
But it was, I don't have no ill feelings towards that woman.
Of course.
I feel like we are in that's like talking about something that happened when you were a kid. Like, it feels like a lifetime ago. And, and it's not like my proudest moment. It's not like I think that's fly or that's cool.
Did you think it was fly at the moment, though? A little bit.
No, I didn't think it was fly.
You felt bad?
No, I didn't think it was fly. I felt like I didn't have a choice.
Right.
You see, like, I think it just was like, you know what I'm saying? I just felt like I didn't have a choice. Right. And so, whatever. It happened. It was quick. It was over. We kept it pushing. I haven't seen her. I never see her. It's so weird.
That's crazy.
I hope she's not, you know what I mean? Whatever. I don't even want to go keep
going
on
you know what?
we
didn't get bad energy at all.
What?
I didn't get bad energy from her.
Oh, good. I have no bad energy to her. I hope. That's one another thing too. Like, the book comes out, I don't want her to feel like I'm trying. That's why I kind of kept it short, and I kept the story short, just because it's a true, honest part of my story, and it was a little piece of it. It's not like 2 chapters or a chapter. It's like a little piece of something that happened.
Internet, she's telling you buy the book.
No, I'm telling the truth. Right. It's like I didn't try to make a book about that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to come off on her success or make it seem like it was cool or that's my but it just was a moment, and it's real, and it's what happened, and it's what led me to go to afternoons, and it's what led me to find my voice in afternoons, which had to change, and so I couldn't leave that out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like a part of that uncomfortable, transition.
I can't think of a more important moment in hip hop radio than the Nas and Jay-Z beef. Like, to me, like, I've listened to radio. Like,
you call it beef, I call it a battle.
Well, I mean, it was a battle, but it was still, it was ugly. It was super ugly.
It was super ugly.
Super ugly, right? But and I just remember just like all of New York City and the tri-state area being locked into your booth during that moment, like when the fans decided.
I remember it too.
Why did you hate that moment? Like, why?
Because it was so hostile and negative and nasty, and like,
you're talking about Jay, like what Jay was saying.
I liked Jay. You know what I'm saying? I hated that was happening to him on my show.
Right.
I hated how nasty the tone of the city was. And I talk about this too also in the book about how like I never subscribed to like, look, we all like the underdog. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had always want to root for the underdog. And at the beginning of this, Nas was the underdog in this situation, right? So everybody wants to root for the underdog. But I hate the fact that in rooting for an underdog, we always trying to knock somebody else down.
Somebody has to get torn down.
Somebody always has to get torn down.
Right.
I resent that kind of mentality so much. Because it says to me, like, people who come from where we come from, people who make it, like, as soon as they get to a certain level, they're not the underdog no more, then
they're not important
our
anymore?
instinct is to rip them down, to bring somebody else up. It's such a shitty way to be. And there was so much of that type of energy going on. And so I don't.
But it's understandable because up until that point,
I mean, it's human nature.
Up until that point, Jay was completely
like untouchable,
unfallible. Like you couldn't touch Jay-Z.
Minus the like yellow suit in the sunshine.
Even then,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
like,
I know there was still like a win in it.
Yeah, it was still a win. It was
even his worst moment.
I still think that was one of his greatest albums years later. You know what I mean? But how did it feel? Like, do you remember like after the air, like after that episode, like just coming outside and being like, did that shit really happen?
Yeah, I couldn't believe how invested people were in it. I couldn't believe it got so crazy. I just kept going over in my mind, like, did I do the right thing did I handle that the best way I could have? Did I, because for me, I'm always like trying to make sure I'm accountable for me.
Right.
I can't tell you how people gonna act.
You can't be responsible. I can't
tell
them.
Jay, why'd you say that in the song? I can't tell Nas. You know what I mean? All I could do is be accountable for myself.
Right.
So I kept going in my head, like, did I handle that the best way that I possibly could? And I think I did, but it was awkward.
But what's kind of crazy is I think you did the right thing. You were definitely impartial. You just presented the views of what the fans thought. But even, and there was more shit that happened afterwards, but you still got pulled in because Nas had something against you.
Well, Nas didn't have something against me. He had the whole station he felt like was, way Jay-Z.
Right.
Jay had
a string of hits,
a successful run, a string, and in that he built solid relationships with us at the station, and he had done a bunch of summer jams, and he had, he was our, our guy.
Yes.
And so
your go-to guy. He was he was carrying New York on his back at the time.
And so when Nas, I think in that point probably, kind of somewhat resented that a little bit, and so I don't think his problem was with me. I think his problem was just overall in general with that.
But when he mentions your name, he's not just talking about Hot 97 as umbrella. He mentions your name specifically.
Yeah, that bothered me.
Right.
Also in the book, by the way.
That's all in the book, Internet. Everything we're talking about is in the book.
I go into depth about that whole thing because
we got 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes.
Because I do have to go have a radio show.
No.
By the way, also today I got book signings and I'm doing a bunch of book signings and stuff. But I respect Nas so much, and I actually really what hurt me is like I really liked Nas. I always did. Like he was always so dope to me. So that all of a sudden I found myself in a position where like he has a problem with me.
But that happens. Doesn't that happen?
It happens. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Luckily, over the years, and I talk about a couple of awkward moments that we had to have before we got better.
Right.
But now we're great. Now I can't wait to run into him somewhere and you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna skip over a lot of stuff. One of the things that you really make clear and you really paint this and you really I never saw it before, but you talked about how comfortable Hot 97 was being the only show in town. Being like the only show, like there was no competition other than inside, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Power 105 really steps it up in terms of the competition. And you said that you felt that it also changed the spirit of New York radio. How? And not in a good way.
No, not in a good way, and not to any fault of like anybody who's there now or what it's just part of. It's like a growing pain. It's the part of the evolution. It's like. It becomes big business. When anything becomes big business, you lose a certain amount of the authenticity because now you're serving not just your love for the culture, but you're serving business. Right. So you're making decisions based on business, not just like we love this, so we're gonna do this. This is a dope song, so we're gonna play it.
Right.
I think this conversation with Guru is amazing, so I'm going to talk for 10 minutes to him about it.
Right.
You make decisions based on your gut and what you love. And then all of a sudden, when there's competition in town and they have a lot of money and they're going commercial free and
numbers,
it changes It just changes the playing field.
Right.
And I knew the second that they were coming that this was going to happen.
You knew.
I knew it.
Even though maybe some of the people at Hot 97 was like, they can't fuck with us.
I knew it.
You knew
it. I knew it. And so it was like, I had like a mourning period
Right.
there where I realized, this is going to change everything.
But you adapted.
You have
like
to.
a lot of
you sink or swim. You don't.
But you know, a lot of people don't adapt.
Yeah, but that was never an option.
That wasn't that option.
No, it's adapt, which is good. It's part of the growing pains, and you learn how to find your voice in a new, in a new atmosphere and in a new position. And I still tried to be authentic and honest, but I have to function a little differently, and you have to adjust, and so that had to happen.
What was the ghost in your mind or in your heart that started haunting you?
About
and
what?
Making you think, you know what? I may not see a future anymore at 97.
Man, there was a lot of things that were happening. I think I was very careful in the book because it's such a sensitive thing to me.
You were
because
very careful. Like you mentioned some things, but you were very careful.
But I also didn't protect anything. I just was on. It's very honest. I tell the story. I tell it. I don't hold back. But I just want. When I say careful, I mean specific. I was very specific. I didn't want it to feel, because I have great friendships with people there, and I love what we built. But I think there comes a time in your life where you could build something and then look around and go, oh, but this is not the same thing anymore.
Or I've grown.
I'm
not the same thing
also,
anymore.
Also, it just wasn't the same place anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't. And so I just started feeling, I don't know, I think I started, I was always so like fiercely loyal. Like for years, people would try to hire me in different places. I wouldn't even take a call.
Right.
I wouldn't take a meeting. I'm talking about decade of people coming for me, and I would not take a meeting. That's crazy, by the way. Just from a business sense, that's just dumb.
Right.
You're supposed to take the meetings
Right.
and then go back, and then you go back to your job and you go, hey, they were going to pay me. What are you going to do to keep me here? But I didn't even play that game. Right. My loyalty was so strong that I didn't even do that.
Right.
And then you just wake up one day and you start looking around, and there's a new general manager. You don't even know them. They don't necessarily are not connected to the culture. And you look across the hall and you see that Kiss FM has just been shut down. They don't even exist. Like, you start looking around like, what am I being so fiercely loyal to?
Because I might be one of these fixtures that changes.
It could easily happen. Because by the way, the second that I wasn't of value to the company, they would have put me out to pasture or whatever. And so I realized that my loyalty was to what we had built, but my loyalty wasn't to what it had become.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then my loyalty I will always be loyal to Flex. I will always be loyal to some of the people that I came up with in terms of as a human being. I just had, I had drinks with Flex last week because I wanted to tell him about some of the things in the book and just catch up. And you know what I'm saying? I am loyal to what's real to me. And I just had a moment where I really just had to assess about what was real it was 2015, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
in this
that
moment,
shit made waves.
Yeah, it was
that
crazy,
news
right?
made waves. That was like a fucking hashtag.
Yeah.
That was a hashtag.
It was a hashtag.
It was a hashtag.
Yeah.
How is it now? Like, how do you like Power?
I like it. I mean, I feel the weird thing is that I still feel like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like I'm Angie on Power or I was Angie on Hot I just feel like me. I feel like if tomorrow Power decided they were going to go a different route, I feel like I could come in the studio with you or whoever.
Let's set up that podcast. Let's set up that podcast.
No, but I'm saying I still could have I
course.
think my voice, I come to learn, is mine. And I am grateful for everybody that helped me to find it. And I'm grateful for everybody that gave me a platform to use it. But ultimately, it's like, it took me so long. I think it's probably as of recent, last year or two, that I've come to understanding, like, this is my voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter where I live, no matter who the name is on the check, the monthly check, it's like, I need to invest and worry, and take care of myself, and then I'll be fine no matter what happens.
I'm gonna tell you, reading your book, there's one thing that really changed my life. It's something that I've been kind of punk about for like
my book.
Your book. I'm gonna tell you. And
oh my God, those words alone, that's amazing.
No, this is real, and this is not the public announcement yet, but I got to talk about this. So, you ran the New York City Marathon.
Yeah.
Like, you ran the whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how was that? Like, why? What pushed you there? That's not easy.
No, it was awful and terrible and amazing and hard, and the hardest thing physically that I'd ever done, including having a child.
Right.
It was like hard like that. But I don't know. I just wanted to. I was like high off the feeling of when I made that transition, all that positive energy. I mean, there was a lot of negative shit people said, whatever, but who cares?
Right.
I'm talking about real things from real people, real women I meet on the street that be like, "Thank you. Oh my God, I'm changing my career now too." Like, I just was getting so much love from people, and I felt so inspired. It was like I was on a high of wanting to still feel inspired and
Right.
still inspire and still. I just wanted to keep that high going. And so I think when the opportunity came to run the marathon, it was like right and then, and I was like, yes, now I'm going to run the marathon.
How did the opportunity come? How did it come into your periphery?
My girlfriend, Amber, she's CC Sabathia's wife. They have a foundation, and our kids played baseball together at the time. And she was putting a team together. So it was like I was in the middle of this big transition. I was filled with all this emotion. And she was like, "Oh, we're putting this team together." And it had been on my bucket list. I grew up watching that marathon.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a way to challenge myself. What a way to like push even further. And I just said yes in the moment. Yes.
Were you nervous afterwards? Like, shit, that's 26 point. Was it 26 point?
It was 26.2 miles. Thank you very much. Don't forget that point 2.
Point 2. I was about to say point 5. Point 2.
It was tough, man. But there's something about accomplishing something that you didn't think you could do that is such a high.
I'm 80% close to saying I'm about to run the 2016.
You should just do it.
I think I'm gonna do it.
But what I would advise you to do is, I tried to train in 3.5 months from nothing to marathon.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about, I could not run a mile.
Right.
Not 1 mile.
Right.
And in 3.5 months, I was going to run the New York City Marathon.
3.5. So
what I say to you is, don't do that.
don't do that.
No, really, don't do that.
Right.
I'm still having issues. Like, my leg still hurts.
Really?
Sometimes if I turn it the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah, I still have it. Oh yeah, I hurt myself.
You injured yourself permanently from that, in a sense. Or
Well,
you're still
yes.
carrying residual.
Yes.
Right.
And so I don't recommend that.
Okay.
If you're going to do it, I say give yourself at least 6 months.
Okay, which is what we have about
6 months to a year.
We got about 5 months. About 5 months.
Oh well, then you got to get cracking.
I about get cracking. Yeah.
And then
Well, I
and do
run
it
a
the
little bit.
right
I run
way.
3
And
miles.
it's still going to be hard.
Yeah.
Do you run 3 miles? That's cute.
I do run 3 miles.
That's
yeah.
cute.
Yeah. It's cute.
I mean,
right?
you're already better off than I was.
Wait, did you just insult me? You just like, that's cute?
Yeah, because
What? You just sunned me? Yes, I got sunned by
somebody
Angie.
turned their phone off.
Listen, Angie.
But wait.
What?
But it's real, right?
What?
The 26.2. You're gonna lose toenails. You're gonna
I already lose toenails.
You lose toenails from 3.5 miles.
Because if I do it 2 or 3,
I'm so sorry. This is terrible.
that's all right. This is a podcast. This is are we editing it? No, this is real. This is real.
Why would she do that? Or is that my phone?
Angie got her phone blowing up.
Normally
with
I
the
don't.
mic
I'm
hot.
smarter
What?
than that.
It's all right. It's all right. We gotta go.
No.
So
What time is it?
So wrap it up, Angie.
You can get 5. You can get 5.
Yeah.
5 more. At least
5 more
if
minutes.
you need it.
Yeah.
If not,
no,
we can
I
wrap
need
it
it.
up.
I need it. I want you.
I
I
see
like
you got a list over there.
No,
I don't want you
listen.
to feel cheated.
Oh no. So it's worth it.
I recommend it.
Okay.
I recommend it, but do it the right way.
I want to talk to you afterwards and see if you can give me some
Whatever you
pointers.
need. You're gonna lose. How many toenails have you lost?
I've lost 3 toenails.
Okay, then all of
Consistently.
yours are probably gonna go
All
off.
of them.
Probably.
I already got ugly feet anyway. It don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
I only lost a little tiny one, and it came back. Thank God.
It came back the
My
same
feet-
color though.
Yeah, because Puff actually warned me. Your feet are not gonna be. He's like, "Do you have good feet?" I'm like, I do have pretty
Right.
cute feet. And he was like, "You're gonna have ugly feet after the marathon." I was like, "Oh gosh, are they gonna come
There's
back?"
nothing you can't tape them up and shit. You
Well,
can't.
luckily mine seemed to be okay. I lost a little pinky toe, but a pinky nail, but it
Right.
came right back.
Right,
and
right.
my feet are pretty in good shape.
Amazing.
Surprisingly,
Amazing. I will stay posted with you and keep you posted on that. 'cause
Yeah, good luck with your feet.
But I'm not 100. I said 80% there.
Okay.
I'll make the announcement maybe in 2 or 3 weeks if I'm going to
It's
do this
too
shit.
late. Just commit. What are
All
you
right,
gonna
fucking
do?
internet's Combat Jack is running the 2016
Woo!
New York City Marathon, and my goal is to raise awareness and money for lupus.
I love that.
All right.
And when it's something outside of your own personal,
Yes.
it drives you a little bit more.
Definitely. So I'm definitely going to do that, and that's because of you, Angie.
That's
so thank
amazing.
You. It is. I'm not bullshitting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You
Let's
will
go.
feel like, it's going to be an amazing journey for
definitely. Last thing I really want to talk about with you, because you've done so much in your career, man. But like one of the things that stands out is the President Obama's criminal justice reform panel.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
you. Man, this is and I don't know why God does this to me, But he puts me in these positions that I think I have no business doing. And he offers me these opportunities. And again, I show up. This is what I do.
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
You were one of the first voices in hip-hop that recognized and advocated for President Obama becoming the first black president. So you can't just say, like, you already put that work in. You put that cause. You recognize him when a lot of people
but I'm not
were not fucking with Barack.
Yeah.
A lot of people in hip-hop weren't fucking with Barack.
It's so crazy to me to even think that. But yeah, no, I know. But I wasn't educated or some criminal justice reform advocate and knew all. Right. I didn't know, but it was such an amazing opportunity that I just did a ton of research. And since then, and so I showed up, and then they told me, the president might come out and give a few words. If nothing else important is happening in the country, he'll show up. And he did. I got to introduce him. It was like an amazing, surreal, crazy town moment. But then what I found out that happened is like I learned so much, and now I'm like fired up by the topic.
Passionate about it.
Super passionate about it. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that opportunity to open my eyes and my mind to see how bad it is out here.
Right. And what are the goals? What are the goals?
And first of all, we need to change a lot of laws, right? Yes. But besides that, I think for me, it's about awareness and making people understand just how bad it is. I mean, our criminal justice system is not set up for anybody to be rehabilitated. No. It is a rare occasion when somebody actually is.
Well, it's not justice.
No, because
it's punitive. And a lot of people don't need to be punished.
Well, not only that, because some people do need to be punished, but not only do they need to be punished, but if they are punished, then how do we put them back out into the world?
Right.
We put them out worse, or do we put them out?
We put them out so better. They can go back in.
We put them out so they could go back in,
right.
And then we pay for that.
Of course.
Their families are ruined. It's a weird, awful.
And then society is ruined.
It's a weird, awful, like, just not well put together
system.
Right. Yeah. And so. I just recently interviewed Shaka Singh, I always talk about him in his book. I'm sure you've read his book, right?
Yes.
How good is this writing them? Yeah.
Very good.
Righting my wrongs.
That Michelle Alexander's book.
I didn't read that.
The new Jim Crow?
Yeah. I haven't read that. I'm going to read it. It was a great opportunity, and yeah, I was thrilled to be there.
Look at you.
I know.
Look at you making changes in the world.
It's using my voice.
Look at you. Your voice, your book out. Listen, internets. Angie Martinez's book, My Voice, is out today. Get it in stores.
Man.
Is
Thank
it on?
You so much.
Where can they find it? Barnes and Noble,
Amazon,
iBooks.
Online. I'm not sure. Or Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. Listen, get it. Let's make sure that this voice of our culture is a success in the book and publishing industry as he's successful in other industries. And listen, Angie, I don't give a fuck if you have another project. If you ever feel like coming through, please.
I would love
just
that.
Come through, seriously.
Okay,
come through.
Okay.
Let's talk. I went bowling last night.
You want to talk about bowling?
What was your score last night?
My bowling game is not too bad.
That's okay. Let's talk about it
Okay,
the next time. And you know what? Like I said, I definitely am going to stay in touch with you with regard to the New York City Marathon because I'm
whatever you need.
Now I'm nervous. Now I'm
you're committed, by the way.
Now I'm committed.
Now's the hard part.
Yeah, the combat reneged on that shit, punk ass bitch. Like,
no, you have to do it.
Angie, thank you.
And so how are you going to raise money?
I have no clue.
Okay.
I have no clue. Like I just
you got to start at like a page now so people can start donating.
Okay. And you did good. Like what was your
our team, I don't remember like what mine specifically was, but we raised over $100,000.
For what, you remember the cause? Or?
It was Pitch In Foundation. They just actually built a baseball field in the Bronx.
With the monies that you raised?
With that money, yeah.
100,000?
Uh-huh. And they just do a lot of great stuff for kids who need it.
All right.
So.
Maybe I might talk to them or something
you
like
should.
that. Yeah. We'll talk.
Congratulations. I think that's dope.
Thank you. Internet.
My pleasure.
Finally,
baby.
Angie Martinez.
Yeah.
Listen, King, you don't have a microphone, so I'm not even going to ask you any questions. Let's just wrap it up. Internet, you know what this is. Dream those dreams and then glow up and live those dreams, because life without dreams is black and white, and the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. You want a monster?
I love Monster.
Can we get some more cans? Huh?
Oh, that was rolling?
Yo, to keep that on.
Nice.
Can we get some monsters for? Yo, how the fuck we rolling? And y'all ain't even tell me, man. I could have said some crazy shit, man. Yo, listen, internets, man. We got some.
I love Monster Energy drink.
Yo, we got some of my favorite people in here, and I'm not even talking about favorite with regard to entertainment and shit like that. Like I actually worked with two of these cats, man, behind the lines when we were over at the Source, man. Yeah. Behind enemy lines.
I think that was like the thinking behind bringing these guys for this episode.
Internets, welcome to the Combat Jack Show. Members of the Stash. We have Kazim, we have Nate.
Yes, sir.
Like, y'all just launched a motherfucking magazine.
Yes, we did.
In the age of digital, when magazines are not being launched, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I mean,
no, what's up, man? Let's talk about this, man.
You know what? It's kind of a calculated risk, and we knew that going in. We knew that we wanted to make a big splash, and you know, there's a million blogs out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what could we do to separate ourselves from the pack and make sure that, you know, we're legit and we get taken seriously when it comes to, like, you know, media, and whether it's sports, entertainment, music, all that type of stuff. You put out a book. You put out something that people could actually take offline and hold and
put on a coffee table and travel with.
Of course.
Now, I noticed that the magazine is not just some regular, like, flimsy magazine. The shit is, like, high quality. It's like, you know, big. It's like big body.
Yeah.
Big body magazine, a big body book.
I almost feel weird calling it a magazine. It's like
a book.
Yeah, it's a book. That's
what kind of stock do y'all use? I don't know anything about magazines, but what kind of stock is that paper, man?
Man, listen.
It's like super plush cardboard.
It's pricey paper.
Pricey paper.
It's important.
Like, listen, once again, in the age, what's the science behind putting a lot of money for a luxury magazine in a time when most people don't appreciate the media?
Well, I kind of wanted to think of it as like how vinyl kind of came back in style. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always felt that, you know, if you put quality behind a product, you get quality back. You know, so if you show people the process of, that was the whole idea of like showing people the cover a year in advance. Like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, it's gonna take a lot of effort, and we wanted to show that, like, hey, this is not something that comes easy, especially in this day and age. And
right.
Lo and behold, the day that we launched, the site to buy it on and launched the print, Harris Pub announced that they're going out of business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So what happens with like the double XLs and the shit like that? Are they independent now? And that's not your problem. Exactly. By the way, guys, take these nice cans of Monster, man, and let's open them up.
Oh, I would love a Monster Energy drink.
I just took the diet one. Hold on, internet. Let me just crack this open.
Thank you.
Hold on for a second, please.
Oh, it's delicious, man.
Oof. You gotta get that snap on the mic.
Yeah, get that snap. Oh, yes.
Yo, I got the prank wars one.
Nate,
I was like, hoping
Nate got the one that fell.
Whoever got the one that fell.
Yo, watch them Jordans.
I got the prank wars.
Watch some Jordans.
Jordans are safe, and that's the most important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wore some beats, so we're good.
Tell us, like, what's the theme of the magazine? Like, is it? Because who's on the cover?
Well, we got Wiz Khalifa on the cover, and basically the first issue we didn't want to do, and you know, just kind of like going forward in Stash print, is that we didn't want to do something where, okay, we got this guy who's got a hot album out, let's talk about his album. You know what I'm saying? Because you could do that online, you could do that on Twitter, you could do that in any type of social media now.
So you didn't want to do the regular print run, like press run?
No.
I hate that shit.
That's corny. It's not so much that it's corny, but you know, we know that's counterproductive in 2016.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as you put it out in an hour, everybody has it, everybody scans it, everybody takes the best parts of it, and then, you know, the shelf life is done.
Right.
What we did is you gather up a bunch of interesting subjects and, you know, just tell life stories. You know what I'm saying? Like, not so much okay, we got Carrie Chapman here, let's talk about what Carrie's doing on First Take, a sports center. Like, no, let's talk about her life story.
Right.
Let's talk about Wiz's life story, becoming a dad and, you know, being on the road and having his biggest single ever come from, you know, this Fast and the Furious movie and all that other stuff. Like that, we were just kind of telling life stories in this book, and that's why we put so much effort into it. That's why we shot everything ourselves. That's why, you know, if you go online to print.thestash.com and order the digital version, you could see all the behind the scenes videos. You could see everything that went into it from the rooter to the tutor, you know. So we feel that we have an audience that's, you know, I wouldn't say like a highbrow audience, but you know, they're very loyal. They're extremely loyal
to the brand.
Exactly, to Stash. So
when did the magazine hit stands?
It hit stands last Friday.
Which is what day?
That was May.
Which is 2 Fridays ago, based on internet time.
April 29th. Yes.
Right. And how's the result? Is it too early to see how's it doing?
Oh no, it did extremely well. I mean, we trended on Twitter for a couple of hours.
Really?
When it copped out. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it was pretty huge, and we moved hundreds of these already in the first couple of days. So I'm very superstitious. So once the numbers did well, I just stopped looking at how many we were selling. So like anytime we do another shipment of sales, that's when I go and look at how much we're at.
Right.
So, you know, but they're also in limited order. So
like in terms of like markets, what markets can people find these?
You get them anywhere.
On any newsstand?
No, they're not on newsstands.
Where are they?
You go on print.thestash.com.
Isn't that also
But you
Where do you
order
go?
them-
Tell them. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you like crazy because of the monster right now.
The monster's delicious.
I'm
By
talking
the
like fast right
way.
now.
We go to print.thestash.com. You can order the digital version or the print version. We'll mail it to you personally. We're mailing it from our office. You know, like
Okay.
it's not no big distribution deal. We're doing everything in house. We're keeping everything rolling through our own end. It's very mom and pop the way we're operating right now. So
How frequent do you publish?
we want to make it a quarterly. So if all goes
Four
according
copies.
to plan, we
Four
do 4 a
copies
year. Yeah.
A year, okay.
And it'd be a seasonal thing.
Shit is beautiful. Listen, I used to be. I don't want to front. Like I used to be a magazine junkie. The Old Details, Esquire, GQ. Like I used to live Spin Magazine, Rolling Stone, of course, the old school Source and Double XL, man. So when I see a magazine that comes out and it kind of brings back kind of like the style, reminiscent of the shit that I used to read in the early '90s. Like paper.
And that's the goal, man. Like that's something that we really wanted to do, and we wanted to make sure we made something that reminded me why I got into this business in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like not for nothing. A lot of stuff that goes on in media right now, it gets kind of corny and it gets kind of cheesy. And sometimes some people get so caught up in being, the top guy or number one and getting this big interview, getting this whatever, that you forget why you actually do something. You know what I'm saying? You do it to do good work for achievement, not for whatever that comes with that achievement, which is, Twitter followers or like influence or whatever that dumb stuff is. You do it for stuff like this to put out, stuff of worth, and I think we did that.
Like, who's the exact publisher?
The exact publisher technically is Steve Stout.
Wow.
He is the.
Yo, can I get a Steve Stout interview, man? Like I know I've said some not too kind things about Steve in the past, and we've corresponded since.
Steve's a good guy.
But if Steve comes on the air, we'll break the internet.
But that's the thing, though. The thing with Steve is he doesn't really back down from a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you guys. I think it would be a great interview.
Yeah, Steve Stout.
Awesome.
Steve Stout, man. You got an open door, man. Come on, man.
He's a
grown man right here, pushing your product. I will always. How many times have I pushed Steve's project? Here's
the thing. We couldn't have done this without Steve.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you know exactly where I'm coming from. We were all working at the Source at one time. You know what I'm saying? Between you, Ben, Nate, myself, we all have worked for people who love getting in the way, who want to be all up in the video.
And he's giving you like firm handshakes these days?
Full firm handshakes.
Beautiful, Steve. Come on the show, man. No scarf hands. No scarf hands. Come on, man.
Nah, he's never been a scarf hands guy with me, man. He's
Yo.
never been a scarf hands guy. He's somebody who really trusts our vision and trusts what we do. You know what I'm saying?
And I see that because you guys have a lot of leverage in terms of how you run the brand, and I'm really amazed. Like, from working with you guys and building with you guys and seeing where you guys. I don't even think it's right to say I'm proud as much as I'm cheering you guys on, man. Continued success.
Thank you, sir.
You guys are friends of mine. You guys always have an open door. Wait, Henny Palooza is next week.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot. Henny
What?
Palooza, Memorial Day weekend, Saturday Memorial Day
Where?
weekend at Webster Hall. We are completely.
Can I spray the water?
Oh.
The Henny bottle?
Oh,
again?
I heard you got rave reviews last time.
What were the reviews?
Your aim wasn't that hot. Like you was spraying girls in the face.
Hey!
You gotta-
Edit that out. Now, yo,
Family man.
listen, man. It was a great experience. Keep coming back, all right?
Of course, man. Thank you. Thank you for
Internets,
having me.
man. Let's go. This episode of the Combat Jack Show was produced by Jonathan Mena, executive produced by A. King and Chris Morrow, engineered by Samir Karan, and recorded in the Engine Room Audio Studio in downtown Manhattan. This is an official Loudspeakers Networks production.
Yo, this at Barbershop Bobby. What's poppin', Combat? I'm smoking my breakfast. Yo, I'm so glad you did the interview again with Corey, yo. That shit was fire. I hope he gets every fucking nickel. You know what I'm saying? He played the game fair. You can't hate on that nigga. You know what I'm saying? You can't hate on that nigga. And yo, my dude, what the fuck is up with you and these no-name Queens niggas, man? Come on, man. I ain't never heard of that nigga you interviewed before this other shit, this up to Corey joint, man. What the fuck is this Polo nigga, man? Come on. Man, who fucks with the Lowheads, yo? That's some 80s throwback shit. The niggas, they not no rap group, Who the fuck still steals Polo? Come on, man. You buy that shit from the fucking bootleggers in flavors. Can't tell the difference. Fuck out of here with that shit, man. And for the love of God, my nigga, please stop trying to finish niggas' thoughts and sentences and shit, man. You be trying to just let the niggas talk, man. I know you gotta conduct an interview and everything, and I genuinely like the fucking questions you ask, but my nigga, pump the brakes. Let the motherfuckers tell the fucking stories. When he's telling the story, you ask him some other shit. Or you try to tell them some shit that they don't even say or mean. Nigga, that shit's annoying. Somebody needs to be on the show and be like, nigga, I didn't say that. Or, nigga, stop putting words in my mouth. Man. Alright, nigga, that's enough hate for the day. Peace.
Los Internetos, are you tuned in? This is a special secret message from Combat Jack. Our first leg, the Combat Jack Show Tour, is happening at a secret location near you in New York City, specifically Brooklyn. Brooklyn, we're taking it home. Stay tuned. Specific secret location.